everyone. We're back today to talk about Sarah's Sustainability Action Plan. We're wrapping up our series today, and we're going to be pulling together some of the topics we've discussed over the last 6 sessions. I'm Beth Lavelle. I'm an architect at Sarah in our housing studio and a member of our Sustainability Resources Group. And I'm here today with Mark and Jeff. Jeff, could you introduce yourself?
Yeah, I'm Jeff Roberts. I'm a principal and senior designer at Sarah.
And Mark?
Yeah, hi. Mark Parapolitza. Also a principal at Sarah and the director of sustainability.
Excellent. Thank you both for joining me today. As we mentioned last time, we updated our sustainability action plan earlier this year. Mark, could you pull that up to share kind of what the document looks like?
Sure. So, there's the
so
cover.
yeah, thanks, Mark. This is the cover. This is a document that outlines our sustainability vision and provides a framework for action in a broad range of topics. Mark, why don't you get us started with an overview of how we'll be wrapping up with this last session today?
Sure. Yeah, so the thing about the way the action plan is organized, and we've been talking a lot about this Project Compass, is that we've really been trying to look at these topics holistically. There are so many different aspects of sustainability, and it often can feel very complicated, very technical, but we're kind of trying to organize it in a way that we can make sense of it without losing the richness of that, but we also are being holistic in our thinking. So we've been using the compass that we've shared in other sessions, and we have it organized around these 3 primary groups of resource management, health and well-being, and sustainable placemaking. We also have sections in the action plan on the design process. And so we brought Jeff in today because as a designer, he's been fantastic about really being actively involved with the action plan, putting this together, but also thinks very holistically and works in such an integrated way. So I think one of the things that's interesting about it is, it's not just like this collective set of things, even thinking holistically, but there's something magic that happens in the design process. And I think no one better than Jeff to talk about that. So Jeff, maybe you could just kind of step into your process a little bit.
Yeah, I'd be happy to, Mark. Thank you. The world today is becoming much more complex, and it's much more technologically advanced. We know material products have changed rapidly in the last 2 decades, and we're living in a world where buildings are becoming more complex. Our clients are more complex. So to get a hold of how you might approach building design on this, at Sarah, we've evolved into leveraging things like the Project Compass, our project charters, and then looking at regenerative models about how to deliver building products for tomorrow. And for us, these tools are the foundational workplaces in how we author, create, imagine what we deliver. So with that said, if you wouldn't mind pulling up the compass, we can talk a little bit more about that.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, you have a nice example here from a project.
Yeah,
Can you see that?
Yes, that I can. Thank you. This is actually a Project Compass example from a Bozeman, Montana master plan that we have recently completed. Where this plays in, as you can see the compass all in play here, what the compass allows us to do is push the level of the building into the directions that our clients and the stakeholders want the product to be delivered in. And with that said, in this example of the compass, every one of those red dots you see scattered around the compass is a person's vote, an opinion, a stakeholder, an owner, or the design team's vote on where they believe this building could exemplify these different subject topics. So the inner circle is the market standard that we the code minimums that we deal with. The next ring out is an improved ring. You'll see most of the stakeholders in this example voting heavily around an improved ring in these headings. The next ring is a betterment ring, or better ring. And then the last ring on the outside is exemplary. This is leading edge thinking, technologies, or intent around delivering. So we believe the Project Compass is a living document. So this should evolve through the project. If it needs to be adjusted, it can be. But in this example, here's once we complete the voting, we run a spider diagram, and then we let the client either adjust in or outwards. If he was in the better circle and he believes his product or the owner's group believe they can be exemplary, we allow them to push the spider diagram out to exemplary. If they might have aspired for an exemplary level and they're afraid they can't get there, either financial or constraints by code, we allow them to pull that back in. But this sets the characteristic of where we want to establish the highest priorities for delivering a product for them and what we want to focus on and try to express in the building design with their project goals.
Jeff, this is awesome to see a project example and how the Project Compass is being evolved and people are using it in different ways. Is really pretty cool, I think. I know that you also use Project Charter a lot and to help kind of flush out, assist with the design process. Can you talk about the Project Charter a little bit, what it is, and why you find it so valuable?
Yeah, I'd be happy to, Beth. Thank you. The Project Charter for us is systematically tied to the Project Compass. The Compass sets the quantitative, detailed facts, components, topics that we want our design team focus on. The Project Charter is a much bigger, broader intent, usually tied with a verbal explanation of mission, vision, intent for the client. We tend to write what the goals are into that for the client. But this is a verbal example of setting the direction for the project. It says we're going on a journey, but it says we're going to South America, but we're not going to Australia, Europe. It doesn't tell us how we're getting there, but it does say we are going to South America as a team. So just that as a metaphor. So this example that's up now is for the Oregon Military Department. This was a wonderful project that spoke to the breadth of the state of Oregon. For in this project, we tried to connect all of the edges and the diversity of landscapes where all these individual soldiers were making their commitment to the state of Oregon for the National Guard, for protection, disaster relief, coming all to one place. We wanted their individual statements representing their communities. So we brought the Oregon landscapes into play in the way we represented the tectonic movements in the building, the overhangs, the intent, the forests, the grassland meadows. All of these start to establish a charter. For us, a charter also can evolve however a team sees most fit to communicate the message to the client, stakeholders, and hopefully the user group. A living document, we hope this sets the direction early, and if it needs to change or evolve over time, so be it. Let the charter evolve. The hope is that the charter carries through each phase of delivery, through design, construction documents, and into construction. And we hope we can share it with a contractor that can have an empathy and understanding of why we're making these type of design moves so they can deliver the product in the same mindset that we've designed it in. And then hopefully the client can use it as a business development marketing tool to go out and sell their product once the building is completed along the mindsets the way we've delivered it.
Oh, that's great. So, one thing, Jeff, that I think that's really cool is the way you've been thinking about and pushing forward with use of these tools, including the compass, and starting to think about kind of where it's headed, and the way that you've been engaged with regenerative design and thinking about five capitals. So maybe I'll bring the slides back up of the compass and the diagram of the capitals. Maybe you could talk a little bit about that.
I'd be happy to. So the five capitals is a very important kind of visionary statement with that. And Mark, if you wouldn't mind, would you bounce back to the compass first, and then I'll
Sure.
lead into this?
Yeah, yeah. Perfect.
So the complexity behind this can get pretty deep, and our design teams need that depth to create the projects that we do, and then create them with meaning. So as you see in this particular example, this has the 8 major elements of the compass, and there's no set number that a client can decide on this. This just is what evolves. But these were the 8 kind of main functions. Now, a client uh, not typically will have these set to memory. So what we try to do is evolve these into a five capitals discussion, which fits more of a language around delivery and development in the world. So as we take these and move these into the five capitals model, next slide, Mark.
Mhm.
This model is much easier for our clients to embrace because typically they're already living in these two of these mind frames, and one of them is the physical, and that's obvious. Is what's your in building, what's the product, what's the land value, what does the physical structure look like, and the physical capital is the building and the place. Financial capital is the other side of that, and this is where are they investing their money? What's the return on the investment? Where do they get value creation from this investment? The other three are a bit new. And what we're trying to do is we're trying to create a balanced group of this. And the other two have, for the last 2 decades, centuries even, financial capital have always risen to the surface. The three that we're trying to elevate in this discussion and topics, and we believe if you can create success metrics on all five, you have a project that cannot fail, and at any level. The natural capital is one that we are starting to engage in more. This is looking at what is the raw materials you take from the land. Is there a way you can use sustainable forests, mass timber, or rapidly renewable materials, or protect land open space? Look at density, the increases that protects that open space for future generations, or agricultural land. The other thing is, how does it feed back to the natural environment? Are you creating an ecosystem that's inviting to all living things in the spectrum? So this is a different way to look at how you engage natural capital. Human capital is the next one that's important, and we've always kind of hinted at it. We've designed for people, but we're asking to look at a new way. How does the building express and meet your safety, intent, workability? How do we design a building that maximizes health and wellness? How do you create fresh air in a building, or how do you allow somebody to create a meaningful movement through the building that increases their physical activity, increasing their health, maximizing access to stairs over elevators? These type of things allow the building and the human activity. We also talk to the spiritual side. How do we make the building have a soul and be meaningful, so we cherish and protect that and have some intent with what we deliver for that financial and physical capital? The next one is the ones that we're dealing with now as social capital. How are the guests, the users, the visitors of that building? How is the building enhancing their productivity, through their interactions? This is where we do in some of the workplace models, creative collisions, where people come together to have more inspiring dialogue or innovative thought just by connecting. This is where we leverage biophilic design, bringing the outside in. But this social capital starts to affect larger groups in a meaningful way. And those groups can be defined by the design team and the client. We believe if you hit on all these capitals, you're going to have a product that is going to be highly successful.
Jeff, thanks for walking us through that and giving us kind of a sneak peek of what you're thinking for the future as these design tools and our processes develop. I'm really excited to be a part of it. Mark and Jeff, do you have any takeaways as we end our last session here? Any last thoughts or takeaways?
Yeah, I'd like to just say, thanks Jeff for joining us. This is a great way to conclude this series. What I really like is this isn't an abstract set of concepts, but they're very real and tangible. They're meaningful. They help us design buildings that are efficient and sustainable, but it's creating a setting in which the occupants can thrive. So I really love the way it's centered on people. I think that's just such an important part of it.
Well, I thank you guys for the opportunity for sharing this. I mean, I know one of the reasons I came to Sarah and one of the reasons I resonate so strongly with these type of tools and our involvement is our constant ability to push, test, and match the way the industry and the world is changing. And I came to Sarah for these type of thought-provoking discussions about creating a world that is a better place for all of us. And with that said, this allows us to really put our minds in a place of how we're solving problems in a broader, holistic way that meets all living things without being destructive in some ways. And I think that resonates with the Sarah employees that work for us today. That is one of our foundational values and our belief structures. We're trying to create places that enhance the lifestyles of the people that we work for, and we're trying to create better places to live, work, and play.
Awesome. Thank you, Jeff and Mark, for joining me today for this discussion. Thanks to our viewers for sticking with us through all of these sessions and digging into each main topic of the Sustainability Action Plan. If you haven't already, for folks at home, check out the Sustainability Action Plan on our website. You can download it. Ask us questions, engage with us, continue to push us forward. We love all of it. And let's get back to work making the world a better place, as Jeff said.
That's great. Thank you.
Thanks.
Take care. Bye.